Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar Authoring, Managing, and Publishing Reusable and Customizable Content with Ease, presented by Just Systems Canada and Intuillion. My name is Tom McGleary, and with me is Alex Massichef from Intuillion. Before we get started...
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Alex. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you of the usual logistical details. First, we are recording this webinar, and we'll be sending out a link afterwards to everyone who registered. Second, all attendees will be on mute throughout the session, but there is a QA panel on the right-hand side of your screen where you can type questions for us during the presentation. We should have some time at the end of the presentation where we can go through and answer questions. And finally, there is a chat panel as well that you can use to communicate with us if you have non-question related comments. And now I'll take off my host hat and put on my presenter hat. Here's some information about Alex and me. You've all seen screens like this before. The short story is that we've both been doing this for quite a while. Alex created DITA2 CMS 6 years ago, and I joined the XMetal team way back in 2002. Today, our main purpose is a demonstration of our two products, XMetal Author Enterprise XML Editor and DITA2 DITA Content Management System, working together. XMetal's focus is on providing an easy-to-use environment for XML structured authoring, and particularly with DITA. And DITA2 gives you a great component content management system with an extremely low effort of configuration. In addition, the DITA2 virtual drive makes it possible for authors using XMetal to interact directly with the DITA2 repository. And we put together a short demo scenario to show you some of the best features of these tools working together. And now, with that, I'll turn it over to Alex to get us started.
Hello, everyone. Tom, thank you for the introduction. Can we go to the next slide, please?
We can.
Yeah, thank you. And at today's demo, we are going to use a tool chain that demonstrates how different people with different roles and responsibilities can use different tools while sharing the same content repository. Let's suppose that Tom and I have different roles and therefore have different requirements to the tools we are using. My role is a full-time in-house technical writer, so I need to have access to all content management capabilities. I want to track content reuse, I want to work with metadata, manage documentation releases, manage translations, convert legacy content, and so on. So I am going to use full-featured DITA2 as my DITA CMS. Tom's role is different. Tom is a contract writer who creates and updates content. Tom, I hope this is okay with you. Tom does not necessarily need all the DITA2's facilities that I'm using, but Tom still needs to have access to the same content repository. So he doesn't have to have DITA2. Instead, Tom has a tiny but very sophisticated tool called DITA2 Virtual Drive. DITA2 Virtual Drive mounts the DITA2 database-driven content repository as a local drive on your computer. Depending on the availability of drive letters on your computer, you'll get another drive, F, P, Z, or whatever letter is available. It is not a real drive, though. It's the DITA2 database-driven repository that pretends to be a local drive. This means that with the virtual drive, you can access the central repository from within any application, whether it's a DITA editor like XMetal, Word, Photoshop, Visio, or anything else without the need to code an application-specific plugin or add-on. DITA2 Virtual Drive is also integrated into XMetal, so you can check in, check out, view version history, change the workflow state, assign files to other users directly from XMetal. So this will be the tool that Tom will be using to get access to the DITA2 content repository. Tom, can we please get to the next slide? Thank you. And this is what we're going to do now. We'll start with converting an Amaz Word document to DITA and uploading it to the repository. Then we'll sort out the content in the repository to improve its findability. I'll share with you some ideas how to do this. And then we'll see how workflow management can help Tom and me work together and get email notifications when each of us completed the work. Then you'll see how easily you can author content in Data, find your reusable content, and make it reusable. Then you'll learn how you can reorganize content in the repository without having to worry that your links will be broken. And of course, we'll see publishing capabilities, and we'll finish with learning how entire documentation projects can be reused. And now I'm making myself the presenter so I can share my screen with you. I hope you can see it now. And like I said, we'll start with converting an Amaz Word document to Data. This is the document that we're going to work with. You probably know that a traditional conversion from any unstructured format like Word to Data is based on styles. This means you have to explicitly map your Word styles to Data elements. For example, if you have to specify that a style called body text should be converted into P element in Data, and a style called bullet 1, for example, should be converted to LI element in Data, and so on. As long as your document is accurately and consistently styled, you don't have to worry. However, if your document is styled inconsistently or full of manual formatting, you would have to do quite a lot of cleanup to prepare the document to the conversion. Fortunately, Data 2 does not rely on styles. Instead, it relies on visual representation of the content. Look at this document. Most of the content here is formatted just with normal. The body text, text and tables, bulleted lists, numbered lists, and so on. But there is nothing to worry. Data 2 will convert this document into Data topics and a map. I'm now switching to Data 2. And we're going to import the Word document to this folder in the repository. Data 2 is now doing several things. It's splitting the document into individual standalone topics. It's identifying the information type of the topics and converts them to concepts and tasks. Data 2 is saving all embedded images as separate PNG files and is adding links to the images. Then Data 2 is assembling all individual topics into a map, and finally it's uploading all the converted topic content to the Data 2 repository. So here we've got 3 folders, one for concepts, one for tasks, and one for graphics. We can run a preview on one of the topics. The preview is generated just using a default style sheet. We can also view the XML source of the topic just to make sure that what we've got is a standard valid data. We can also view how a task looks. Preview. And the XML source, just to make sure that we've got a standard valid data and nothing proprietary is in. On the Projects tab, I can see the data map that Data 2 has created. The map resembles the structure of the original Word document, and I can now edit the map right here in Data 2. I can add more topics, remove some topics, or change the hierarchy of the topics in the map. Having a central repository for your content is good as long as you can find what you need quickly. And one of the methods to improve findability of your content is to assign tags. I'm just randomly selecting some topics. And now I'm going to assign tags. A tag is a label whose semantics you define as you want. The list of these tags is completely configurable. This is something that I've created for the sake of the demo. For example, I can say that the selected topics are for the is-a-print product, and they are intended for the user guide. And then I can say that, for example, these images are also for the is-a-print product, but they represent screenshots. And by the way, I intentionally said file rather than topic or map. It can be any file you have in the repository. I did a topic, map, image, video, PDF, HTML, Word document, FrameMaker document, and so on. Now, if you have your files tagged, you can search by tags. For example, you can ask Data2 to show you everything tagged with user guide and is-a-print. And from the source results pane, you can preview the found files. You can add them to a project. You can open them for editing or send them for translation and so on. Now, I need this content to be updated. So I'm changing the workflow state of the data map that represents my entire project so that Tom will get an email notification and could begin working. A few words about the workflow. Data2 lets us set up workflow states as you need. The ones you are seeing now is how I configured it for my own needs, but you can do something different. For each state, you can specify two things. One is what actions should be triggered when a file is moved to this state. For example, if you have a state for review, you may want Data2 to send an email notification to the product manager or have a special tag to be assigned to this file automatically. The second thing is what actions should be disallowed while a file is in this state. For example, if you have a state for approved content, probably you do not want to let anyone delete, update, or translate this content. So this is what you can specify for workflow states. And now I'm changing the workflow state for ready for a technical writer. And I'm also assigning this project to Tom. This will send him an email notification. And if I'm the admin, I will be able to control what files are now assigned to Tom. Tom, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. I'll make myself the presenter again. And let's start by looking in my inbox to see if I've received a message. There is one there, but that's the older one from this morning. We were testing. Come on, you can come, you can come. There it is. It came in as a interesting. It came in as a thread because the title had the same as the one that we were tested before. But here's the message from Data2 telling me that I have work to do in my in the repository. So I'm actually going to go to XMetal, and what I'm going to be doing today is showing you several aspects of authoring content using XMetal. So I'll be accessing the Data2 repository by way of the virtual drive, which Alex mentioned, and this causes the repository to appear as actually the Z drive on my desktop because I'm in Canada. This is visible here in the Resource Manager panel of XMetal. So here's the Data2 virtual drive, and if I browse into that, then I can see all the folders and files that Alex has created for me. So let's go ahead and open up one of these topics and get to work. So here's the Understanding EasyPrint all-in-one topic, and I know that I'm going to be working in this file, so I'm going to check it out. And to that end, I've created this is something that I created just for this demonstration. I've created a toolbar, a special toolbar here in XMetal that provides access to a number of commands that are available through the Data2 virtual drive that I have installed on my system. So I can, for example, check out the current file. Now that that file is checked out to me, it's safe for me to go ahead and make the changes that I need to make. So I want to preface this by saying that I'm going to be showing a variety of features in XMetal that range from almost absurdly tiny details up to highly complex tasks. One of the key strengths of XMetal is that it's designed to facilitate authoring by all different types of users, from the most advanced XML expert to the person with the least experience and really no concern with tags or angle brackets. For the latter type of author, we try to make the interface as natural as possible, with features that resemble typical word processing and desktop publishing types of software. Almost everything you ever want to do can be done in multiple ways, so that any author at any experience level can find a way of working efficiently, but still within their comfort zone. Okay, so actually this is not the task that I wanted to start with. Let's start with tasks and printing. Actually, you know what? I really wanted to open the data map. Here's my data map. Sorry, folks, just going to back up and do things in the order that I want to do them. So I want to open things from my map, because that gives XMetal a little bit more knowledge of what's going on between the data map and the data topics. So in the data map, when you open a data map in XMetal, XMetal opens the map in what we call the map editor, and the map editor allows you to do basic editing on the map structure, just the same as you can do within the CMS. You can rearrange topics, you can add new topics, you can delete topics. For example, I could delete this item from the map, and so on. So these are all things that you can do within the map editor of XMetal. Now I do want to go back and continue editing topics the way that I had intended. So let's start with the printing task. So this is a data task topic, and the first thing that I need to do here is to add a prerequisite section. Notice, by the way, that there are no tags present in this document. This is what we call the normal view in XMetal, because the idea is that this is the kind of view that authors might normally use, a tag-free, WYSIWYG-like view. The visual appearance that you see here is controlled by style sheets within XMetal. Now let's suppose that I'm one of those less experienced users who doesn't care about data tags, but I do know enough to know that I need to add a prerequisite section. The easy way to do that in XMetal is to go to the Insert menu and come down to the Section menu and select the prerequisites task, or the task prerequisite section, and say go, and XMetal automatically inserts that section in the correct location. So there's no need for me as an author to know exactly where I have to put the task prerequisite. XMetal takes care of putting things in the right place automatically. So there are 3 things you need to know. And now I want to stop, having typed one whole sentence, and show you something amazing and dramatic that happened. I pressed the Enter key, and a new paragraph was inserted into the document. That doesn't sound particularly earth-shattering, but it kind of is, because some XML tools, when you press the Enter key, will pop up a kind of intimidating long list of elements that the author has to choose from. But our approach in XMetal is that the Enter key should automatically choose and insert the next element. This makes working with the editor feel more natural. It works just like you expect from having been conditioned through years of experience with writing tools, that when you press the Enter key, something obvious is going to happen next. Okay, so this, and I want to make a list now. So again, with things behaving the way that you're accustomed to, I can just change this to a list by clicking a button on the toolbar. This, that, the other thing. And again, with the natural behavior of the Enter key, not only am I getting new list items every time I press Return in a list, but if I'm at the end of a list and I press the Enter key, then it closes out the list and moves into a new paragraph. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is add some information to one of these steps. So I have some additional info to add here. And again, I know that there's a data element for that. It's called step info, but I don't have to worry about precisely where it goes. I can just go to the menu and say Insert Step Info. And again, XMetal inserts the new element. You may have noticed that when XMetal is inserting new elements, there's a little bit of placeholder text that gets put in, and when I start typing, it's automatically erased. This is a fully customizable feature of XMetal, and it's a great place to add. We kind of just have default text in there, but you can add your own default text, and it's a great place to put helpful hints, corporate style guidelines, anything that you want to inform the authors about what it is that they need to do. So here's where to look, And let's put an image in here as well. Again, with the natural way of doing things, there's just a button on the toolbar for inserting an image. I can browse to select my image, which should be here in my repository, and I think I want that one. And say OK, and yeah, so that's the image that we want. So now I can save this file because I'm finished with it for the moment. And it says that I didn't check it out. Oh, that's because I closed it and reopened it. That's okay. I'll check that file out now. So the Data2 virtual drive actually caught me there. I did not have my file checked out, but it caught me and gave me the opportunity to check it out. And now I can save the file. Now let's look at another topic. So here in this topic, my task is to create make some edits to this table that we see in here. XMetal has a pretty advanced capability for editing tables. There's a table toolbar that includes a bunch of commands for working with tables. There's also a table menu that has loads and loads of stuff that you can do. I want to add a new column here at the right of this table. Just put in more information, and I can use the arrow keys to move around. This is where the paper goes in. This is where the paper goes out. We try to make our table editor, again, sort of as natural as possible. The keyboard shortcuts that you expect to work should work. You can tab to move around in the table, or you can use the arrow keys. I'm going to just go to the end here and say this is where you put your document in, and watch what happens if I'm in the very last cell of the table and I press a tab. I get a new row inserted into the table. I think we borrowed that probably from something like Word or Frame, that idea. But again, making things behave naturally. Something else that wasn't very good. Let me just spell check that. That's too bad. I'll retype it. Okay, so what else can we do? I don't know. Let's take a couple of rows and I'll cut them to my clipboard and then move up a little bit and paste them up there. So you can rearrange rows, no problem. If you don't like the way that looks, let's just get that back in order by sorting the table. And when we sort, we can sort by multiple columns. We can sort by different means. Let's sort column 1 by number. That sounds great. Okay, so you get the idea. Lots and lots of things that you can do with tables. Now again, I'm going to need to check out this document. That one already is checked out, so I can save the file. And that's all good. Okay, now we need to fix up some text in the first topic that was not converted in the way that we would really have liked to by the word to data transformation. Scrolling down through this document, you can see several places here where some user commands in some software are mentioned. But if we inspect this closely by finally turning on the XML tags, then you can see that these bits of text are actually in here as just plain bold elements. But we would really like to turn these into, we'd really like to tag these with some more meaningful data elements. So for the OK button, we'd like to use, instead of bold, we'd like to use a UI control, which is a common data element for this sort of thing. It happens that XMetal provides a very simple way to change an element. On the insert menu, there's a command called change element, which, on the edit menu, there's a command called change element, which brings up a list of all the elements that this particular element can be changed into according to the structure of your current DTD. And by typing the letters UI, I can see that UI control is on the list, and I can click apply, and the OK button gets changed to a UI control. Do that again down here with this one, except instead of using the menu, I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut, which is my natural way of working. So Control-Shift-L brings up the menu, UI to select the element, and Enter key to accept the command. Now these other two bits, here's a file print, and here's another file page setup. are a little bit different. In Ditto, we'd like these to be a menu cascade element, which is an element that contains a sequence of UI controls and has the intended semantics that the publishing system will automatically string those together into something that maybe looks like this with the greater than signs separating them. So I can insert one here. I'm just going to leave my old one there for the moment, but insert a new UI element, which is the menu cascade. And in this case, you can see XMetal's template actually already includes two UI controls for me. So I can type file into the first one and page setup into the second one. And that wasn't so bad. The angle bracket is already there for me, and so the XMetal style sheet does that, and we're trusting that the publishing style sheet is going to do the same thing. Now I don't need this old one anymore, so I'm just going to delete that whole one. Now that element, or that operation to create that menu cascade was not particularly hard, but if it was something that you thought you were going to be doing very often, then it could be a tedious thing to do. And so this is a perfect opportunity to use the scripting capability of XMetal to write a macro that can do an operation like that for us. And so I did that again for this demo. I've created a macro which I've put on the toolbar here for converting text into a menu cascade. And by the way, I am available for side contracting if you need someone to create spiffy and very clever looking toolbar graphic icons. I created all these. So let's just turn my tags back on, and I want to select the contents of this element, and I actually want to get rid of the bold element because I'm not going to need that anymore. By the way, there's a keyboard shortcut in Element in XMetal for getting rid of bold and italics and underlines as well. So let's get rid of the bold that way. And now just run my macro. Having selected the text that I want to select, the macro is going to look at all the angle brackets in there, divide the text up into chunks, and put in appropriate UI controls for each one. And so there it is, a single click. And so that's that. Now with this, I'm finished with that file. Am I? Yes, I am. Okay, so next I'd like to look at creating reusable components. So in all of my topics, I've noticed that the name Easy Print All-in-One occurs frequently throughout my collection of topics. It's here, I think, twice in this topic, once there. Maybe it's twice in my other topic. Anyway, it does occur many times, and what I'd like to do, my marketing department can be kind of capricious, and so to prevent the situation where the marketing department might change their mind and cause me a very laborious and possibly error-prone process to find and change all of these occurrences, it would be better if I used the conref feature of Dita to create a variable text that we can reuse from a single source to pull in this name to all of my different topics. As it happens, XMetal has a convenience feature that we've added that will actually create a reusable component for you using Dita conref, and not only that, but find all the occurrences of this text in your map and give us the option to replace them, one or all of them, with a reference to that same reusable text. So the starting point is I've selected some text here, and now I'm going to go to the menu and say Create Reusable Component. Now there are several things that are going to happen here. First is that I've selected the text that I want to use. I need to this text that I have is going to be saved out to a separate new Dita topic that we're going to store in the repository, and so we're going to call it printer name. The first checkbox tells me that the text that I have selected in the current topic where I'm working, this particular actual selection, is going to be replaced with a reference to that new variable that I've created. And then the next checkbox is the optional step of asking XMetal to please find all the other occurrences of this text. So let's go. So the first step here is I need to actually save that file in the repository, and I'm going to create a new folder for that and call it reuse. This is where my printer name text or file is going to go. Now the second step is that XMetal is preparing to do the search, and it's asking me to set the scope of my search, but it's defaulting to my data map, which is what I want. I want it to search throughout the data map, and there are a number of other expressions that you can set on the search, but defaults are all good here. Now I get a results box that shows me a list of all of the occurrences, and it found 13 occurrences of that text in 9 different topics. And so I can go through now and start selecting these ones and accepting the ones that I want to accept. I'm going to skip that first one because I don't want to change my user map, my data map, sorry, but the this file compatibility. No, we're not using that one anymore. Let's do this one, loading paper. So I'll check that one to be changed. And before I say go, I just want to check one thing here. Yeah, so I have a checkbox here that tells XMetal to every time it changes a file to actually open that file in the editor. You don't have to do that, but I want to do that because then if I have somehow made a mistake, I'll be able to do an undo with that. So box checked, click OK, and so the file opens, and the text here has been changed. So this is now a reference that as you can tell by the gray background, and also by the fact that XMetal doesn't allow you to edit this text here. If you do want to inspect that, you can open that file itself in the editor, but that's not part of my demo today. So that's all good. I do want to make sure that file gets checked out, and then saved, and then I'll check that file back in. And that's all good, and we're finished with that file. So, so that's creating a reusable component, and of course you can go through this whole list, change all the ones that you want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have one last thing to do, which is that we want to create some new content. We're actually going to create a whole new manual called the installation guide that's going to use some of the existing topics from my user guide, and it's also going to create a new topic as well. So let's start by creating a new map. In XMetal, whenever you create a file or a map, this is template based, and so I'm selecting from a large selection of templates here, and I'm going to choose the map template, say OK, and this map is going to be called Installation Guide, and I want to save this file into the repository. I'll just save it at the same location as my other map. That doesn't matter. That's just convenience. And by the way the Data2 virtual drive works is that when we create new objects in the virtual drive, they're automatically checked out to me already. So I don't need to check this one out. I can just have a go at it here. So I want to add a new topic to this map. Adding new topics to a map in XMetal is just simply a matter of browsing to the topic you want. Basically, and saying OK. There are a number of other options that you can do, but a simple topic ref is just browse and OK. So we'll add that topic. We'll add another one. Basically, we're adding the 2 that we've been working with all day today. Understanding. That's OK. That looks fine. Now I want to create a new topic and add it to my map as well. So create another new map, or sorry, create another new topic from a template in XMetal. This is a task, and I'm going to call this installing the. And now I'd like to reuse my reusable component here for the name of my printer, and I can do that by saying insert reusable component, browse to select that file, which is the reuse printer name that contains my reusable component. And so there's my printer name pulled in here. This tells you how to install, do something, etc. And so I'm going to save this file, and this does go in my tasks folder. Installing the Easy Print, and now I need to. That's okay. And now I need to include my new topic in my map, which is tasks. There, because this didn't get saved because of that error message. It's there. graph, browse, go to my tasks. I don't know what has happened here. Okay, well, I don't know why it's not seeing it. Okay, well, let's just go on. So, don't know what happened there. Maybe something will turn up later as a problem, but for now, let's move on with the demo. And so I'm finished with this file. I'm going to close that. I'm going to save this file. It is. I'm going to make sure this file is saved. It is. I'm going to make sure that my maps are saved and closed. So save this map. That's all good. And now save this map. Everything looks good. Now I want to make sure that, Now I want to make sure that everything that I have checked out is checked back in. So I can go to the virtual drive to just select everything that I have checked out, check it in all at once. Ready to go for Alex. And the last thing I'd like to do is just change the workflow back on this map, and I'm switching the map over to open in the main window of XMetal because my little macros that work with Data2 are not smart enough to know about the map editor. But I want to change the workflow state now of this map to tech writing completed, and with that, I will be turning things back over to Alex.
Thank you, Tom. I'm making myself the presenter again.
I already did.
Oh, okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So, Tom, thank you very much. And now, because both Tom and I are working with the same repository, I can see the new data map that Tom has just created. And I can also go through the topics that Tom was updating, run a preview, right, and make sure that this is the constant, that this is the additional column that Tom added in XMetal. So this is a proof that both Tom and I are working with the same content repository, with the central content repository. And everything Tom's done, I can see from my Data2. And because Tom reused in his new map topics that I converted from Amaz Word, I can use the way used feature that gives me the list of all the data maps where this particular topic is reused. Also, if I would have any unreferenced topics in my repository, probably I don't have any. Oh, no, actually I do have. So this is one unreferenced topic, and this is a very good example. So you see, so I've run a search on unreferenced topics, and Data2 told me that this topic is an orphan topic. It's not used by anyone, and maybe this is a good indication for myself that I should either delete it from the repository or start using it immediately. Speaking of deleting files, in Data2, there is a concept of trash bin. It's like in Windows. When you delete a file, it's put into recycle bin, right? And from there, you can either restore it or delete it forever. The same thing happens in Data2. When you delete a file, it's put to Data2 trash bin, and then you can either restore or purge it. And now I want to sort out the files in the repository a little bit. Let's say I want to move some images to another folder. And in this topic, as you could see already, I have this product image. And this is how the reference to this image looks like. This is the reference. And this is the image. Okay, and first of all, I want to rename graphics to, let's say, my pictures. And then I want to create a subfolder and call it product images. And then I want to take these three images and move them to the newly created subfolder. If I wouldn't have a technology and tools, I would be in troubles by now because the link to the image would be broken. A good news is that Data2 updates all relevant links for us automatically. If we take a look at this topic again, at the XML source, we'll see that the reference now reflects the new location of the image. And if your content is translated to other languages, the links will be updated in all translations too. And now with all this content in the repository, let's say that I want to create a new user guide. And I know that the new guide will be similar to an existing guide. Some of the content will be the same. Maybe the outline of the new guide will be similar to what I already have. So instead of creating a new guide completely from scratch, I'd rather take an existing one and branch it. So I'm creating a new folder for a new guide. Maybe this is a new guide for a new product. And then I'm taking one of the existing guides. Let's say that I want to create my new user guide based on this one, and then branch it. Data2 is now asking me where in the repository I want to put the new guide, and prompts me to choose how I want to branch. And here are three options. If the content of the new guide will be the same or almost the same as the content of the existing guide, but the guide's outline is going to change, then I'll choose the first option. It will create a copy just of the data map, and the map will reference the original topics. If the outline of the new guide will be the same or almost the same, but the contents will be entirely different, I will choose the second option. It will create a copy of the data map, a copy of all topics, and then in the copy of the topics, it will delete the contents, leaving just topic titles. Finally, if the outline of the new guide and the contents of the topics will be different, but I just want to use the existing guide as a starting point, I'll choose the third option. It will create a copy of the data map and a copy of all the files used, including topics and images. So these are three ways how I can branch a project in Data2. And of course, I can publish it. Let's just to not waste your time, let's try to publish something short. Data2 is integrated with Data Open Toolkit, so you can now run Data Open Toolkit transforms directly from Data2. If you have customized XSL style sheets, you can make Data2 to apply them instead of the default ones. I don't have any translations here, so nothing to select. Our guide does not contain any conditional content, but if it would contain it, then here I could select what I want to include into the output. Okay, so a few words about the publication while Data2 is now running the Data Open Toolkit transform. Data2, like I said, is integrated with Data Open Toolkit, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the only way you can publish. We have customers that are using third-party publishing engines. For example, we have customers that are using WebWorks ePublisher. We have customers who are using Antenna House and other publishing engine. So you're completely free in choosing the publishing engine. You're not limited here at all. Don't judge me too strong for the look and feel of this document. I've just quickly created this custom XSL style sheets for demonstration purposes. Right, so this is our content. And that completes my part. And I think we're now ready to take your questions, although there are plenty of features both in XMetal and Data2 that we would be happy to show you. But I think we could probably do just a separate webinar. And now let's get back to get to your questions.
Thanks very much, Alex. We do have some questions, and I will start. I'll just start going through these, and we can give these some answers. So to start with, we have a question. This is for you, Alex. After you imported the Word document into Data2, what happens if there is an update to that Word document?
Okay, in this case, you would have to convert this document again. So at this point, this is a this is a conversion that goes one direction from Word to data. So if you updated this document, you would have to convert it again.
Yeah. And there was a follow-up question that was it just asking for confirmation about that. So yeah. So I think obviously most people in our industry are going to give you the best practice advice that well, you want to consider that fact. That's the situation that Alex just described is going to be the situation that you're normally in when you're doing conversions between Word and data, and so that's something you want to consider strongly about whether you can move your content permanently to data and not have to rely on the transformation from Word to data on an ongoing basis just because of this problem.
Yeah. Right.
Next question is one for XMetal, and it's just as can you publish from XMetal? So related to what we're talking about. So the answer is yes. XMetal also includes the Data Open Toolkit, and the story with XMetal with publishing is the same, is kind of similar to what Alex just mentioned with Data2. You can certainly use the Data Open Toolkit that's bundled with XMetal, or you can work with any other publishing system as well. And we also have customers who work with the tools that Alex has mentioned, as well as various others. So here's one for Data2. Our company uses SDL Pub Manager plus XMetal. So I've been interested in which of the things you've been showing are thanks to Data2 and not as possible or not as easy in SDL. I'm sure that Word import is one of them. Any other major differentiators you could highlight?
Oh yeah, actually there are a lot of them. But to just to save you time, I will probably name a few of them. So one is this virtual drive thing. So like I said, the virtual drive mounts your database-driven content repository as a virtual drive on a computer. And this means actually a lot of things, and this opens a lot of possibilities for you. So one possibility is that now you can involve your subject matter experts and people from other departments, from other teams, to contribute content into Data2. So like you said, so now you can see the Tom screen. So, and as you may notice, Tom does not have Data2 installed, right? So if Tom is a subject matter expert, like engineer or reviewer or product manager, but he wants to get access to the repository in order to put their content and update content and maybe review content stored in the repository, he can do this by having this tiny but very sophisticated virtual drive. And this also means that from the perspective of all applications running on Tom's computer, virtual drive is just another local drive. So which means that Tom can use, for example, Amaz Word to write engineering specs and then put them directly to the repository from within Amaz Word. Or if, for example, Tom is a graphic designer who is responsible for creating graphics, then, and he's using Photoshop or Visio, then Tom would be able to create a graphics in his tool and then saves these graphics directly to the repository so that the technical writer who is using Data2 will be able to get these graphics and use it in the documentation. So this is one possibility of many. Or suppose that you have a PDF-based review process and you generated a PDF for review and you want people from other teams to review it. And then what you can do, you can make Data2 to save this PDF directly to the repository. And then you can change the workflow state of this PDF saying that this is ready for review. And then depending on how your workflow is set up, an email notification will be sent to relevant people. And then these people will be using the virtual drive. They don't have to have Data 2 itself. They would be using this virtual drive thing to access the central repository, get this PDF, review it, add comments, save it back to the repository, change the workflow state to something like review completed. The tech writer will get an email notification that the review is completed, and that's it. And there are many other use cases where the virtual drive can be very, very beneficial. So generally, it means that you can involve people from other departments and let them stay in the comfort of the tools they got used to, whatever it is, Word or Excel or PowerPoint or Visio, while still having access to the central repository. So this is one thing. Another thing, another differentiator is very rich capabilities to do content automation. So for example, you can build automation in a way that automatically assembles an entire documentation set, for example, based on a bill of materials. If you are in a manufacturing industry, then you know that almost all manufacturing companies are working with bill of materials. So based on the bill of materials, all your individual scattered topics can be assembled together automatically in a data map or set of data maps. Or another thing, you can, if you have troubleshooting topics, just textual troubleshooting topics, you can just click a button and they will be converted automatically, dynamically, on the fly to a troubleshooting flowchart that represents the troubleshooting procedure visually. Or, for example, if you are a team of tech writers who are documenting a complex product with multiple components, you can assign a component to a certain writer or to a group of writers, and then you just click a button, and this content automation engine goes through all the topics and automatically generates a diagram that visually represents all the components of the product and how they interact with each other. So these are just a few examples of what can be done. And a great thing here is that you can write such semantic intelligent transforms by yourself. So I think this is huge. And there are, of course, a lot of other things that differentiates Data2 from other products. So, but I just don't want us to run out of time. But I will be happy. Tom and I will be happy to have a separate conversation with you where we can go into more details on this.
Thanks, Alex. Here's another question for you. What is the translation process in Data2?
Okay, the translation process is that you have a project that you want to translate, and then you move it to a special workflow state, and this does several things. First of all, it downloads, it retrieves all the relevant files to be translated from the repository. It packs them to a zip file, and it downloads the zip file to the specified location. And then you can send this zip file to your translation agency. In parallel, if you are in a position when you need to keep working on your content while it's being translated, so you cannot really wait while you get your translations back, you might be in a problem, because suppose that you're sending your project for translation today and you expect to get the translations in a couple of weeks from now. The problem is, if you keep working on the content while it's being translated, is that by the time you will receive your translations, your content in the source language will be several versions ahead, which means that your source and translations will be out of sync, which is not good. Data2 allows you to create a baseline before sending the project for translation. A baseline is a kind of snapshot of the project at a given moment. So you create a snapshot, and it's like put aside automatically, and then you keep working on your content without worrying about anything. And then when you get your translations back, you upload them to the repository, and you will be able to say, this is the translation of the project, but not of the project as it is now. This is the translation of how the project was 2 weeks ago. This is the translation of the baseline that I created before sending the project for translation. So this is generally the idea. And then once your translations are uploaded to the repository, you will be able to see to which language each topic is translated, translations in which languages are missing, and then if you updated the topic in the source, a topic in the source language, then you will get a notification saying, hey, this topic has translations, and you've just updated the source language, so all your translations need to be updated as well. So you will get this notification, and you can also get a full report about the entire project, where you're staying with translations. You can search by translation status. For example, you can say, show me all the topics in German that in all topics that were translated to German, but the German translation needs to be updated because the source in the English was updated. So, and Data 2 shows you all these topics. So generally that's it. Again, there are a lot of other things, including translation management, but this is briefly speaking.
There's a follow-up
Hope
question.
this answers your question.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
a follow-up question while you were speaking, and that is, does it actually create empty topics for other languages before zipping a document?
It does not create empty topics. What it does, it retrieves all the topics in the source language, zip them, and then this is what you send for translation to your agency. And then your translation agency is responsible to create a copy of this package in the target language. Does this answer your question?
We'll hope so. Yeah, he says yes. So we don't have any more questions from the participants, but I have a question for you, Alex. I want to know
Sure.
what happens if a user goes on vacation and leaves topics checked out. Can anyone?
Oh.
Can they get unlocked?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a very good question, and I think this is a situation that each of us used to face at least once in the life, right? So, so basically, in this case, the admin has two options. The admin can either force check-in, and in this case, all the changes done by that user will be saved, or the admin says, no, actually, I want to unlock, I want to cancel check out, and then in this case all the changes will will disappear.
Very good.
So you can either force check in to preserve the changes, or you can cancel the checkout. But in any event, you will never be in a position when you are locked and when you cannot keep working just because someone forgot to check them in.
Thanks. So I think that's all the questions we have. So I think we can give everybody a couple minutes back of their time. I'd like to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. And just a reminder, the recording, when it's available, will be up on our XMetal website. And we'll send out an email at that time to remind you that the recording is available. Thank you all for attending, and we'll look forward to hearing from you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.